Which mic do we have on? Do we have the big one or do we have this little one?
They're both on.
Okay.
The big one is what we're
Recording
we're
is.
both. The little
Okay.
one is our backup.
Awesome. Awesome.
So for some reason, the big one
Yeah.
cut out.
Yeah.
We have a backup. So
All
it's
right.
just reassurance for
Yeah.
us.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you, sir.
You guys need anything?
I appreciate your
Thank
energy,
you.
Lars.
Good to go.
You're going to be missed, by the way.
Yeah, good luck with
Thank you. I
everything.
appreciate it. Yeah,
That's
I'll,
awesome.
I guess I'll probably be gone, but I'll see you soon.
Thank you, sir. I'll come by. Either way, I'll see you before the end of the month.
Okay.
I'll
sounds
come
good.
by. Thank you, Lars. All right. Are you ready for this?
I guess so.
That'll be good. I'm actually filming another one at 6. I was able to do 2.
Oh, are you serious?
yes, I
Oh,
was.
that's awesome.
Okay. All right. How do I say your name fully, like correctly?
So Elvira.
Elvira.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I do. So there's just one thing.
Okay.
So I've been using my personal email and phone number for people to find me. That I don't know if this even plays out in anything.
Okay.
But for like clients,
Okay.
that's something I don't want to do anymore.
Okay.
And so if you like ask where people can find me,
Yeah.
then I would rather just quickly set up a new email or
Awesome.
something.
Awesome.
So,
No
but
problem.
we can even just, I don't
Awesome.
know, maybe post a link or something.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. This will be fun. This will be a laid back conversation. It'll
Okay,
be fun.
sweet.
3, 2, 1. Hello, everybody. I'm here with my friend Elvira, and Elvira is somebody I'm so excited to just talk with. And you have such a high vibration, such a kind energy.
Thank you.
You're what made America move, and like I told you that before, and it is true.
Oh, thank you.
What were you thinking when I came up to your house to canvas and speak to you that day? What were you like in 30 seconds or less? Like, what were you thinking when I knocked on the door? What was going through your head?
I actually thought that you were probably selling something.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, oh, great, here's another solar guy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, but you were very kind and interesting to talk with. And so I was interested in what you had to say.
Mhm.
So,
Thank you.
hmm
Obviously, I'm running for Congress as a libertarian, and I love freedom. Why do you think freedom? Because I know how you feel a little bit, and why do you think freedom is so essential for the human experience?
well, I feel like that we were created in freedom. We were, even before we were born, it was something that was so essential for our existence. And in order for us to progress and to really go as far as we possibly can, it's so important that people have that agency, because that's what's really going to help us live to our full potential, is when we have that freedom and that agency to be as creative as we want to be. And it's like when you're told to do something, it only lasts for so long. There's only so much motivation.
Mm-hmm.
But when the process is you come up with the idea, you come up with the solution, it's endless.
Mm.
It's endless. And freedom is just, it's what we were created to be. And so for us to come on this earth and not be free completely goes against who we were even created to be in the first place.
You're awesome. You're awesome. I'm gonna see if this is something on out here. You know what this fucking is?
It does sound like there's some talking.
No, I thought there was something on. Yeah. Sometimes there's a thing on that we can turn on.
Oh, okay.
All right, my friend. Dude, you're such a hype. I cannot believe you had 9 children.
Oh, you're so kind.
Oh, man. I'm not going to bring anything. I got your thing. I didn't have anything about I was going to ask you about growing up, like, in the religion, but now, like in a religious setting. But I'm not even going to do that after you said. So
Oh,
there's not going to be
thank
any.
you.
Yeah. Don't worry. I don't want to do. I want to do everything to make you look as good as possible, and also where you feel as good about it as possible. So there's no.
Oh, thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah. So I don't care about any of that stuff.
Thank you.
I care about human beings and how people engage with me and the world at large.
Thank
So.
you so much.
One thing you had that I loved was you had a little Instagram reel, and it really helped me. It was talking about you were running a marathon, and you were like, I realized that basically well, you didn't want to do the marathon. You were kind of tired. Maybe you were training for it, and you were like, it was just your brain trying to look for the easiest way out. Our brain does not help us to be happy, just keep us alive, and so our brain is always looking to not use energy. And you made a statement about that on a reel, and it was like, my mind doesn't really want to do this, but I'm going to make myself do it, and you can do a lot more than you think. And I actually, for like the next several days after that, started using that. Like that reel really helped me push through some things and like made me better. And would you elaborate on that?
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. So the brain likes to take the path of least resistance.
Mm-hmm.
So our brain is built for comfort because comfort in the brain means safety to the brain. And so many times we'll think, oh, we're too tired to do this, or it's too late, or I'm too old, or I'm too young, or whatever. And really, that's just an escape that our brain is looking for. So our bodies and even our mental capacity is so much larger and so much more than what our brain will lead us to believe, because our brain just loves that comfort. And so, and I think I did another reel about this also. It's like one day I was working out in the gym and I was doing deadlifts, and all of a sudden someone came and walked in front of the mirror. And my brain immediately said, oh, you can't do these deadlifts because now you can't see in the mirror. And I was like, wait, yes, I can. And then I had a ring on, and right after that, my brain said, well, you need to put down the weights because the weight is rubbing up against your ring and it's too uncomfortable. And I thought, no, I can still do these deadlifts. Mm-hmm. And then my brain said, well, you need to put down these weights because they're heavier than you normally pick up. And I just found that my brain was just coming up, and this happens all the time in so many things. Our brain will come up with excuse after excuse after excuse as to why we can't do something, because it loves to take the path of least resistance. Mm-hmm. And really, when we don't let that be an option anymore, when we have fully decided and we're able to quiet the brain and just shut down that noise and say, no, I'm going to do this. I've decided to do this. Mm-hmm. And the more we do that, then there's a part of our brain that's called the mid-cingulate cortex. And when I don't like to use the word force, but when we keep pushing forward and allow ourselves to keep taking that path that's harder for us, that our brain doesn't want to take, mm-hmm. then that part of our brain, the mid-cingulate cortex, it actually gets stronger. It actually gets bigger. It's like a muscle. Mm-hmm. And then that's how we become wired, to where as soon as an excuse comes up, like, oh, I don't want to get out of bed this morning, I don't want to do the cold plunge, I don't want to work out, right, then automatically it becomes easier for us to say, no, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it, because we have built that muscle.
Mm-hmm. No, that's beautiful. I love that. I've seen that like on both sides with me, like the pros and the cons of like when you do or don't push your brain. And even like now I can like campaign and go talk to people for endlessly for hours, or just do anything that's like uncomfortable. Like I used to want to tap out of situations. I mean, I still have a long way to go, and I still do like dumb monkey mind things where my brain is like, especially when I'm underslept and stuff, my mind is not, I'm not tapped in like I should be. So it's a daily struggle. Also though, I've gotten a lot better than I used to be at being able to deal with chaos and like uncomfortable situations, like even when it was with people or in a chaotic environment, because I can just not judge it and just sit there with it and just be like, I wonder how this is going to work out, instead of being like always looking for the exit. Nice. I can do that, and I can do it. Like I can imagine like going with me somewhere and being like, because my dad, when I would go place with him when I was younger, I'd be like, Dad, let's go. Or if we were working, he'd always be like, come on, one more. And now I'm like become that person who's like, one more, hold on, let's just do one more. Let's talk to one more person.
Nice. That's awesome. Mm-hmm. And the fact that you're saying that you can do it, now that you're saying, well, I used to be this person, but now I'm this person, that's actually a feedback loop that you've created in your mind. Mm-hmm. And so a feedback loop is when we say, okay, we can or we can't do something. It could be either a positive feedback loop or one that doesn't serve us.
Mm-hmm.
But in your case, you've said, okay, I have become this person. I can do this thing. And then you will carry out that thing. You will put it into action. And then it comes back up to where you say, or your mind knows that you have done that thing. And so it feeds that part of your brain even more. You have wired that part of your brain that believes that it can do something. And so that's a positive feedback loop.
Right.
And we have these feedback loops all the time, and we just don't realize it. But we are our own self-fulfilling prophecies. Like, we are creating these feedback loops all day long. So when you say, you know, it's something that I struggle with all the time, like, we are all constantly doing this, and whether we're conscious of it or not, it's up to us to learn these things. And so that's awesome.
Do you like wake up at like 5 a.m. and start? I forgot what you told me. I know I asked you that, but do you wake up like 5 a.m. and like do a cold shower and then meditate for 10
I
minutes?
usually just wake up with the sun. And so whenever the sun wakes up, then my body is trained to just wake up with the sun. And I do love to do cold plunges. So I have a cold plunge out on my deck. And I love the cold plunge because, first of all, it creates that part, it creates that positive feedback loop where, okay, I've done this before. I know I can do it. Even if I don't feel like doing it, I know that I can. And, you know, nobody loves being in a cold plunge. If you find someone that loves being in a cold plunge while they're in it, then let me know.
Yeah.
But it's when you get out of it, it's just such an incredible feeling. Like, okay, I did this thing. I did this really hard thing. It was super uncomfortable, but I did it anyway. And then after, it's like you just have an adrenaline rush for hours. And there's so many scientific benefits to doing a cold plunge also, like just the increase in the mitochondria. And the the dopamine hit that you get from it, and it increases brown fat in the body, and so.
So is that like a daily thing for you where you do the cold plunge pretty much every day?
So I try to do. So if you listen to Andrew Huberman from Stanford University, then he says 11 minutes a week is all your body really needs for the benefit. And so I try to do it a few times a week.
Okay.
So it's not every day, but I aim for that 11 minutes a week.
Got you.
So, yeah.
You are a unique individual. You're what did your dad do? What was your dad? What was your
So
dad?
he was a professor,
Okay.
college professor, and he did a lot of things. He was an entrepreneur. He had his own business, mainly so that us kids could work with him and so that we could have a family business. And so he would send out mailings. I mean, he did everything from traveling the world by himself. He was legally blind, but he was still such an incredible person because he went all around the world by himself teaching people. And there was no can't in his vocabulary. I never heard him say that he couldn't do something.
Wow.
And I think that, you know, if, again, going back to the brain, we don't necessarily remember everything that we're told, but we do grow up in this energy, in this vibration, in this frequency that actually programs our brains
So true.
subconsciously. And so when we grow up, we are running off that same program that our parents gave us, even if they didn't realize they were giving it to us at the time. And so I am so grateful for my dad. You know, you said it's a daily thing. You know, we're all on a journey, and I'm nowhere. You know, I'm ever progressing, and so are you. And which is so awesome that we're not perfect, because perfect would mean that
You'll be boring.
we've reached the end.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I am so grateful that my dad showed me that example and that I grew up in that frequency where there were no excuses. I mean, he did incredible things with his life and did not feel sorry for himself or put any limitations on himself or even, you know, us kids as to what was possible.
When you said mailings, did you say he sent out mailings? Like
He would send out mailings, yeah.
Okay.
So one of the things that he did is he founded a company called Musicians Hotline, and I can still remember what we would say as kids when we would get the phone and people would ask what we did as a company.
Mm-hmm.
And we helped musicians find gigs and gigs find musicians and bands. And that was how he advertised. He would print out all these newsletters of what the company did. And then my siblings and I would go to his office and we would each, I mean, I can't remember how much it was, but I'm sure it was hundreds of little letters that we would fold ourselves, stuff in the envelopes, address to different people, stick on the address labels, and stick on the stamps and mail out. And that would take us, we would spend whole weekends doing that together.
That's so cool.
So
Was it, you have 9 children, she has 9 children. Was it important to you to like leave a legacy like with your, I think the thing that like most people miss is like the value of children. Of course, I have 0 children, you know, because I was lived all over the country and, you know, was in football. And so I wanted to pursue a career in football.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to be careful who you tie your bloodline to, because if you do it with the wrong person, you can really have negative consequences, you know.
Mm-hmm.
That's a fact. So, was it important to you, not for any reason particular, but like as a person to share did you always want to have a big family? Was it important to you to be like, I want to have a big family, I want to have children, and like do that because you felt an innate desire to like help the world with raising kids? Or what was a spark to have as many children as you did?
Yeah, I love that question because when you said spark, it definitely was a spark inside of me
Mm-hmm.
as a young girl to just want to be a mother.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how many other women feel this way. I think that a lot of women do feel this way, but it's such an instinct for women to be nurturers and caregivers. And I am very happy in that role. And I remember just even in my teenage years, with all that I was doing as a teenager and everything that was going on, I had such a deep desire to be a mom.
Mm-hmm.
And I loved growing up with my siblings, and I wanted my kids to have lots of siblings. And so they did, and we have a really good time together. We have a broad age range of children, and they're all just incredible people. They're very much free thinkers for themselves, which I'm very proud of. But yeah, I just had this instinctive desire to be a mom
Mm-hmm.
and to be able to care for lots of children. And I love being around children. I love their nature. I love their spirits. I love what they teach me. You know, I always say I'm the student in this, because your kids teach you so much about not just human beings and who they are, but they teach you so much about yourself. And I think a lot of parents would agree. You're just put in situations and different scenarios where you have so much opportunity to learn and so much opportunity to teach. And that's where we really learn a lot, is when we're teaching something back, right? And even just like what I was saying earlier, through the vibration we carry and the frequency, and that's something that I feel is very important to keep in check as a parent, is the kind of frequency and vibration in your home, because you are creating vibrations and frequencies and environments in your grandchildren's homes too, and their children.
Yeah.
And it goes down from generation to generation.
So true. Yeah, that people don't think. I don't know if everyone thinks that way, but that's so true.
Yeah.
And I've seen how you interact with your children too, and it's real. Like, not because you were doing it to just you in the wild. I've seen how you engage with your children.
Thank you.
It was pretty cool to witness.
Thank you.
And
I'm so grateful to be a mom. That I would say of anything that I ever wanted to do, and I've lived a really full life, but if anything I ever wanted to do was to be a mom.
No, I think that's innate in like biologically in women.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's suppressed at times because it's like, oh, I want to go to Bali. And I have friends that are in Bali, but it's like, you probably do. And you probably do want to be a mother too, because especially as you age, a lot of studies show that kids, like as you age, having kids is more fulfilling than if you don't have children. So that's, you know,
I believe
it's kind of
that.
on the other side of it too. The first 40 and then the last 40, you know, that can be, if you don't have kids, it can be pretty tough on that back 40.
Oh, I believe that.
And then I hope your kids have a lot of children too. We need smart people having kids. So
Mm.
like, I hope they have like a lot. I know it's hard.
I
To,
hope so. I want lots of grandkids.
I know economically people just, even like 3 kids is like a big family now, but it used to be like 100 years ago in America, like 9 was nothing. Like 9 was the average birth rate, but certainly like in the turn of the beginning of the 20th century, people did have, like my mother was one of 7, you know, and stuff like that, you know. So it was like that's in Mobile, Alabama in the 50s or to the early 60s. Her family had that many children, so that was pretty late. And that was the baby boomers. There was more. The baby boomers was an increase in the birth rate. It was actually going down into like 100 years ago. It was going down, and then the baby boomers ticked it back up to a higher birth rate, and then it's kind of it flatlined for a while, and then it's just like, you know, it's literally low now in the United States and the Western worlds, you know,
Yeah.
and in East Asia as well. I mean,
Right. I question how much that has to do with programming in society, especially with the emphasis on women going out and getting careers. And I'm not against that at all. But there was the feminist movement. And also, I think there's a lot of programming where we have this in society, this perfectionist mindset that we can't have kids until everything's set up just right, until we have this amount of money,
Right.
until our careers are at a certain
Right.
point, until we've been married for this many years or whatever. There's so much programming going on that we don't realize because it's subconscious. But really, I would say to anyone who's waiting for the perfect scenario to have kids or to have more kids, that perfect scenario may never come. And especially, you know, it's expensive
right,
too. But that's also part of the programming is people thinking that it's too expensive to have kids.
right, because it's so true. Because like 140 years ago, the wealthiest, you know, the top 5% lived way poorer than the bottom 5% now. So it's like you could totally do it. Like
Exactly. And we think that our kids need so many things that they really don't need. You know, really our kids just need an environment that's full of love, that builds confidence, that teaches them how to work.
Yeah.
And there's just been so much programming as to why we can't have kids or can't have big families or more kids.
Yes.
And really, you know, I remember when my kids were young and people would say to me, and I think that this is so true, the days are long, but the years are short. And it's a lot of, especially while they're younger, it's a lot of physical work
Right.
to raise little kids and to
Right.
raise them to adulthood.
Right.
But it's an investment.
Right.
Now that I have older kids, and they're all over the country, and they're just doing amazing things.
Okay.
And now that I have grandkids, I am so happy that I spent those years where I had the energy, where I was young, where I was able to have kids. You know, we didn't always, you know, our finances weren't always absolutely perfect, but it's an investment that I know I will never regret.
Right. 100%. I agree.
And now I have all these people around me that love me and that I get to love and I get to go visit. And so I would say, you know, there may not be a perfect scenario to, like I said before, to have kids or to have more kids, but it's such an amazing investment, especially now that I'm at this point in my life to where I do not regret
Right.
having one of my kids or spending my years or my
course.
energy that way.
Yeah. No, and you're so smart too. You're such a good mind. Does your family trace its roots all the way back to the founding of Utah? And how far into America? Like, does your family go back to the beginning of the pioneers here in Utah? Like, can you trace them? And then how far in America can you trace them back?
Yeah, so my family goes back to at least to the pioneers that came over across the plains. And then one of my relatives is John and Priscilla Alden. So
Know who that is?
let's see, I'm trying to remember.
It's okay if you don't know. It's a hard thing.
Yeah, so the Aldens, so they were They were from early colonial days.
Okay.
And that's as far back as I just know that I'll have to do some more research.
You should.
on
You
that.
should. I have a
should.
buddy.
That'd be
I have
awesome.
someone who watches this show. He knows who he is,
Oh,
and he's a expert on the country's founding and like the people who came over here, and like a lot of research shows, and he's gonna go a lot more in depth than me, but America, the United States of America, was like a eugenics experiment for Europeans because half the people that came over here died. The first like 150 years, half the people died. In fact, higher than that, really. A bunch of people had to go back. And so the beginning, we only had like 5 million people, less than that when we formed the United States of America. Out of those 5 million people, we had Thomas Jefferson, John Adams, John Lott, George Washington, Benjamin Franklin. It was a high vibe, highly intelligent group of people who founded this country and who made this work, who overthrew the biggest military at that point in the world ever seen, the British military. And then, when they designed our government, which they were reading like Greek literature on like Greek city-states, they were having to like read it in Greek, you know what I mean? To like match it all together to build our constitution and our forms of government. That like they spoke like 4 or 5 different languages. John Adams, all those guys, they were true like Renaissance men. Like they were entrepreneurs. Like Benjamin Franklin, he was great. Like not only as a philosopher, but like in the world of like physical science. Like he didn't just get like electricity. Like he was like building. He was like Elon Musk. Like he was building stuff with it.
yeah.
These guys were on a different level, and their brains were so good. And I think, well, I know that was because of their intelligence, because of their vibration was so high.
Yes.
And so there's a direct correlation between the people who've been here the longest, even among like Europeans. I have Southern heritage, and I have heritage of the people who fought in the Revolutionary War, who were here, who's been here hundreds of years. Not all my heritage, but a lot of it. And the southern states, those people had been here for so long, and so many of the people in the Civil War that fought for the northern side, the government, the federal government, were like Germans, first immigrant Germans. So like the U.S. government was like importing first immigrant Germans to go fight people who had been in America for hundreds of years before the Civil War,
Wow.
which is so crazy.
Yeah.
Which is so crazy.
Crazy.
And I don't think there was a moral side in the Civil War. I just do not think there was. It's just it's not to the victor goes the spoils. They can write the books, but it's not true. It's just not true. Not that many people own slaves. Like 3% of the Southern population even own slaves.
Right.
So
Yeah.
such a small group of people, and you're awesome, by the way. What kind of adults are you trying to make your children? How are you trying to raise them? Like why? Like what are you like? What are just even just 1 or 2 things that you really hope that your kids are? And obviously you have grandchildren, so you've got several out of the house now. And then kind of what is that mindset? I guess I know you have a couple of still children that are still there.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So I want them to very much be independent thinkers.
Mm-hmm.
I want them to very much use their own inner guidance system
Mm-hmm.
and find out for themselves, like, their path. I want very much for them to honor their Father in heaven
Okay.
and their Savior, because that's brought such joy to my life. Like, that's an experience. Having a relationship with my Father in heaven and my Savior has guided me and helped me so much through my life that I want that for them also.
Mm-hmm.
And I want them to very much just to find out for themselves the path that they are meant to go on, and to use that agency, like we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
To use that agency to find out what is the best path for them, because I don't think that any of us are created in a cookie cutter way.
Right.
I think that there's so many things. You're talking about the founding fathers.
Mm-hmm.
They were very intelligent human beings, but they were so different
Mm-hmm.
in their personalities.
Mm-hmm.
But they provided this patchwork of intelligence that needed to come together in order to form this country. And so I feel the same way about my children. I feel like, we may have raised them under the same roof, and they've been under,
Yeah.
the same kind of
Tutelage.
tutelage
In
and
theory.
everything.
Yeah.
but they are all so individual,
Mm-hmm.
and I want them to find out their own individual paths.
Right.
So that's
Well, I
very
like that.
important to me.
I like that. There's so much here. I've got you answered the thing about the neuroscience, but I want to come back to the neuroscience in a second. But if you could give sort of everyone a mindset to have, like, what would it be? Like what's that maybe you try to teach your kids or any children or just a person? Like, what's a great mindset to have, like, as you encounter life and challenges and so forth?
I love that question because I think the one thing that I would want everybody to adapt as a mindset is to just think a little bit further. Just go a little bit further. To if you are feeling limited in your capabilities, then chances are it's a limited mindset. And to just ask questions. Well, what can I do? How can I make this better? What is good about this situation? Because I believe that life is happening for us, not to us. That's something that most of us have heard, and I believe that with every fiber of my being, that if we just ask questions, then we will get to that creative side of our brain. And if you're feeling limited, it's because you're having a limited thought. And so I would say just ask a question. What can I do? What is good about this? What am I excited about? Is this a limited thought, or is this a thought that helps me feel excited and creative? Or is this something that is not effective for me to be thinking? And so, I would just like them to just realize that we're all limitless, really.
Right.
So.
Yeah. And what's helped me a little bit is, like, I'm tapping into, like, instead of seeing something as heavy, like, as I have to, it's like, oh, I get to create. I get to, it's just fun. I feel like I'm the movie character and I just am just playing.
Yeah.
So, like, the very fact that we're alive means we've already won. And then from there, we're just creating. And we really can't go wrong. We're just creating. We're just having fun creating. This is an expression of human creativity right here. In an hour, whatever we'll be doing, that'll be an expression of human creativity.
Right.
And there's really no win or lose or right or wrong relative to, it's just human creation. So.
Right. Exactly. I love that.
Thank you. If someone's, like, stuck, like, they feel like they can't get out of the rut, what's the first thing they should change? Like, their habit, their environment, like you said, the identity of that feedback loop relative to, it's not just a habit anymore, but it's like you've wired that loop to where it's like, I am the person who is relentless or resilient or those things because I've wired it in my brain. Or like what's the first thing they should change? Like, if they're stuck or can't, like, they can't just, like, get out of bed, they can't, like, stop a bad habit or procrastination.
Yeah, I think the first thing that is really effective and helpful is to just ask a question. Because when we feel stuck, then we feel like we can't do anything, right? And so if we just ask ourselves, okay, what can I do? Even if you're just laying in bed, and you're laying there and thinking that you can't get out of bed, say, okay, while I'm laying here in bed, what can I do? What can I do to help myself feel better in a way that's effective to reach my goals? Well, maybe I can start thinking of what I'm grateful for. Maybe I can start thinking of what I do have and what do I have. Gratitude changes everything.
Right.
Gratitude puts everything in a completely different perspective. And so just start asking questions. What is good about this? What do I still have? Even if I've lost a lot, even if I'm disappointed, what do I still have? Another thing too is when we're stuck, sometimes we're so stuck inside of ourselves and inside of our own mind because we feel victim to the outside world. We feel victim to what someone said or a comment that we read online or something that hasn't exactly gone our way.
Right.
And when we get outside of ourselves and we start thinking of how we can serve other people and what we can do to make the world a better place, even if it's just, doing something kind for our neighbor or our kids or or one of our friends, or just the smallest little act of service will get us unstuck out of our own heads and open our minds to new possibilities. And it will give us this sense of capability, this sense that we are making a difference in the world, that we can accomplish something, that we matter because we're making a difference. And so, gratitude, service, asking questions of what you do still have. And you mentioned getting out of a bad habit. Sometimes when we're trying to get out of a habit that's ineffective in helping us reach our goals, then we're so focused on the habit that that's what our mind wants to go to. I read a book recently. It's called Brain Over Binge.
Okay.
And it's about a woman who had bulimia for several years.
Okay.
And she went to therapy for that for several years. And she journaled and she removed herself from triggering circumstances. And it was just something that completely consumed her life, that bulimia that she had. And she said that one day she just realized that she was so focused on her addiction of binging and purging that was all her brain wanted to do, because that was where her focus was. And then she realized that when she was able to recognize that she wasn't flawed, she wasn't sick, she didn't need to get her whole life in order to recover from this addiction. She just realized that the problem or the challenge was when she felt drawn to binge. It wasn't that she had all this childhood trauma that she needed to fix first or anything like that. It was just her being able to get through that moment, and it was just a moment of wanting to binge.
Right.
And you've probably heard this before, that emotions, except for grief, all emotions only last in the body for 90 seconds. And so if she was able to get through just that little bit, and by get through, it just meant do nothing.
Right.
So many times we have this urge in our brains, and our brain goes into urgency, thinking that we need to hurry and fix it, or we need to hurry and satisfy it.
Right.
And really, we don't. There is no urgency.
Right.
And
It's so
we can
true.
just do nothing. And just even by doing nothing, it just gives our brain that space to overcome that urge and
Right.
to even start asking questions. Okay, I'm not going to binge right now, but what can I do? I'm not going to drink right now. What can I do? I'm not going to go to this addiction.
Right.
I don't have to fix it right now.
Right.
But what can I do? And I can just even sit here and wait for 90 seconds, or wait for a couple of minutes, or wait for 5 minutes, or wait for 30 minutes, and just wait for that to pass. And that's okay.
Do you have any eggs left? Do you know if you could? Can you have any more children?
I don't know. I'm 50.
I know, which is amazing.
So
Is it just clean living that you have 9 children and you're 50 years old? Is it just have you always worked out and maintained a healthy lifestyle?
I enjoy exercise. That is something that I love to do every day.
No, I'm being facetious, and I know we can never have a baby, but
You're so kind.
you should. Yeah, it's crazy because you are probably one of the smartest people we've had. I've interviewed. I mean, a lot of people I know a lot. I mean, we know each other. We had like an hour-long conversation. But we don't hang out. We don't spend time together. Not that either of us wouldn't, but just like even as friends, as people. But just like we don't have that. And so, but your brain is so amazing, and I realize that. I realize now. I'm like, man, it's like. Yeah, it's just a whole thing. Like the brain is so important, and like you're right. It was the environment you were in relative to your dad did a great job, and your mother, of like teaching you resilience and how to be a good person. Like all those things did play a factor, because if like remove that, now you may be addicted to alcohol, or what I'm not saying you, but like in general, you don't know what your addiction would be. Or not that you haven't had your own problems in life, because we're human. Not even talking about addictions, but just like we're all wrestling with our own brain and everything. The old monkey brain, but in general, though, I'm like, I see you, and I'm like, wow, like, the older I get, the more I realize that, like, you get like, and this will never happen because we're different, but like, whoever's children you had, they are so lucky to have had their children. Like,
Oh, you're so kind.
it's true. It's true. Like we me and you will never have a kid. We can't have a kid. But I'm saying that like, it would be like an honor to have you
Oh,
be the mother of my children. Like, and not
You're
like
so
in a
kind.
weird, not like in the way, I don't know how
Right.
that's, but like not like in a weird way with us, but like in a, if like you were the person who mothered my kids, who like, I would be like the luckiest person in the world.
Oh.
Like that would be like the greatest thing ever. I'd be like, you know what I
You're
mean?
so kind.
Like,
I really appreciate the compliment.
mhm,
I feel like I'm just a regular person, and
Mhm.
anyone can learn these things.
right.
Anyone can get on the path of learning about the brain,
hmm
learning how the brain works, and it's such a gift. As soon as you feel a feeling that you don't like, you can just ask yourself, okay, what is my brain doing? And your brain is just trying to get a need met.
Right.
And I do appreciate the compliments. That's so kind. You know, but we all have a story, right?
hmm
Like, we've all been on a journey, and we all have things that are unique to us,
hmm
and I feel like I've just been on the receiving end of so many different ways and things and modalities that have really helped me, because we've all had our struggles, right? And I just feel like I've just been on the recipient of receiving some knowledge that has really helped, and it's out there for anyone to learn, especially in this day and age, like with social media, and how, you know, learning about the brain is actually becoming, it's trending a lot right now.
hmm
and 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 I also want to give so much glory to my Father in heaven
hmm
and to the Savior, because they have helped me in so many ways that I can't even count. We wouldn't be here, and we wouldn't be who we are without their help and without the light of Christ. And so thank you.
You're welcome.
I
I'm-
appreciate that.
I'm gonna go grab the other mic so we can come closer.
Okay.
And we'll do. I still got more stuff to talk about. So we'll do it.
Okay.
How's it going so far?
Good.
Okay.
I feel like my brain has drawn some blanks in front of the camera.
Drawing some blanks.
Drawn some blanks. I'm like,
The
wait,
cameras can be a little intimidating.
a little bit. And I'm like, no, I'm just having a real conversation.
Check 1, 2. Check 1, 2. Check 1, 2. Just gonna troubleshoot this for a minute. Check 1, 2. Check 1, 2. Check, check. Check 1, 2. This is a little bit better. Have you been on camera before?
I'm trying to think.
Check 1, 2. Check.
I don't think I've done some public speaking, but this is the first podcast I've done.
Oh, okay, yeah. Let's see if this is working better. Check 1, 2. Let's come over here. Check 1, 2. Check 1, 2. Check 1, 2. Check 1, 2. Is this better? Check 1, 2. Oh, yeah, that's much better. You get a lot of me saying check 1, 2, by the way, in your recording.
Well, thank you, sir. And then, do you have the little?
Oh, did you need me to stop and start it again? I can't remember.
Probably would be helpful, maybe.
Okay.
But that's okay.